For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio back on the air. That's right. When we parted ways earlier in the week, I said maybe it would be the last show of the week. And then I thought about it and I said, oh no, we got to catch up with Clay. We got to catch up with GA. We got to talk to these guys that have just gotten the job done out there in St. Louis. And that's exactly what we are going to do. So fans of Clay Millican, fans of Greg Anderson, you're going to want to share the show. Clay going to be up first, GA going to be up second, maybe a little crosstalk. Right? We'll see what happens as we get ready, but 3 races are down, 3 races to go, and I am packing my bags as we speak for the, maybe not as we speak, but like a minute before the show, to go to the Stampede of Speed Thursday. I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and on through the following weekend at the Fall Nationals. And remember, WFO Patreons, we're going to do a big meetup there. It's going to be a lot of fun for the whole WFO universe. Super exciting. We had a great show yesterday with Alan Reinhart. He was on the road, kicked around a lot of the hot topics. And all we always ask, it's pretty consistent on the show, since you guys are our best marketing platform. Like someone could see a logo on Facebook and maybe check it out. But when you tell your friends to check out this show, and you share the show on your feed, boy, does it help us big time. Let me tell you about the people who make it possible for me to talk to drag racers for a living. And I'm talking about Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. We've got a new episode of Hidden Horsepower getting ready to drop. All you podcast listeners, be ready. Shane Tecklenburg, he's doing EFI stuff like across all platforms. And you are going to love it, whether it be Bonneville, Pikes Peak, drag racing, Factory Showdown, Factory X, Pro Stock, import stuff. It's amazing to hear him talk about EFI and how we've really barely scratched the surface of what is possible. That is the next episode, newest episode of Hidden Horsepower. Check it out. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. You already heard a little bit about them. Big power, driving on the street, driving on the track. FTI can help you. FTIperformance.com. Foggit. Oh, this is a great company that was started by racers. Gary Stennett, Steve Williams, solving a problem that everybody has that they don't know they have. And that is microscopic corrosion on the inside of their racing engine. At the end of the night, you just fog it down. You fog it down with some Foggit. And it's a great product to keep in the shop around the house because it does many things, but its primary function is to knock down rust and corrosion at the microscopic level between races. Maybe you want to, pickle your engine for the winter. That's what the product was designed for. FOGGIT, and they've got a great contingency program at the divisional level. Bernie's Speed Shop, 100,000 square feet at Bernie's, baby. If you're buying, you're selling on consignment, you're looking for your next car, a classic muscle car, Josh Hart's got you covered up there at Bernie's, Ocala, Florida. Reach out to them, follow them on social media, and tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And then, of course, Phillips Connect. Smart trailer technology for the people in the transportation industry that are smart enough to know you're making money when your trucks are on the road and you're not making money when they're not. So you might as well invest a little bit to keep them out on the highways and byways instead of in the shop or on the side of the road. Phillips-Connect.com. Later on in the show, I'll tell you about Frank Hawley's drag racing school. I'll tell you about Marvin Rodak, and I'll tell you about samtech.edu. But right now, we're going to bring in friend of the show and 3-time winner in 2023 for Rick Ware Racing, Mr. Clay Millican.
Good morning or afternoon or whatever it is, wherever you're at. I can tell you it's morning for me.
Yeah, me too.
Still having some coffee this morning, thinking about Dallas already. And kind of like you, I'm not packing right this moment, but I'm kind of in that process, to be honest with you.
Well, exactly. And a lot of people were saying things like, Thank goodness, the end of 3 in a row, and I have an off weekend next weekend. And every time they said that, I said, well, I'm going to the Stampede of Speed, and I will be there for 10, 11 days, and it's going to be awesome. It's such a great event, but it's going to be special. But the end of the year is torrid. It's a tough pace of travel, of work, but I bet when you carry home one of those little gold men, it makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, I mean, it's such a relief and incredibly tiring at the same time. I mean, because you go, you go through 4 rounds of elimination and you are just so wound up. And I mean, people that know me, they know I'm kind of wound up all the time anyway, but boy, I just ride that adrenaline, and I'm a zero drinker, so I don't want people to think this, but boy, when it comes to, I don't know, probably 1 o'clock Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever, man, I am done. My battery it's just like, boom. Yes. I slept late Monday. We stayed at the racetrack and slowly made our way home, which St. Louis is really close. It's only 260 some miles from the house. And I kind of drug around on Tuesday, but I've been back wound up yesterday and been wide open today, cleaning the motorhome, getting things ready, doing a few interviews here and there, which is always awesome. And I always enjoy coming on WFO because it's WFO. You've been around for a while, buddy, like me.
That's so true. Let's not age ourselves, but it is true. In all full honesty, right? So here's the deal, Clay. Like this one, I want it to be real loose and super cash, and the fans checking in and talking about like multiple subjects. Like I want to ask about Bruce Reed and those guys and Jimmo, because Dallas is kind of like a home for him. But you were on with Brian, and the 2 people that I reached out to, because I knew they would be the easiest to get on and are friends of the show, you and GA, right? Like easy peasy friends of show. And you were on with Brian as well on NHRA Insider. So I want to make sure we cover some same stuff, but some different stuff, so that everybody can listen and enjoy both interviews at the same time. Let's start out with, Illinois, man. What is it? You swept the state of Illinois this year.
Yeah, I heard somebody saying that. I don't know if it was you or Alan, Illinois state champ or whatever. That's kind of cool. It's I don't know what it is. I can tell you exactly what it was. It was hot in Chicago and it was hot in St. Louis. That's been like our magic recipe this year for winning Wallies. I don't know, track temp thing has just been in our favor when it's up, but the St. Louis race, if we think a little bit, not that long ago, that place was covered in weeds. It was closed. It wasn't open. And then we go through this past weekend to a sellout crowd, which was incredible. They had a packed house every day of the event. I don't want to call it a flawless event. It was a challenging event. The racetrack certainly has some character, I guess is a nice way to put it.
Yep.
And it's kind of cool. You got Greg coming on as well, because both of us battled I can't think the exact quote in Days of Thunder, but the treacherous left lane. If you go to the outside, you can hold it. And Greg and I both turned the wind light on from the lane that nobody wanted. Actually, I turned on, I guess, 3 of them from that left lane. I'm not sure where Greg was at the rest of the day, but it was definitely a challenging racetrack. Where you positioned the car, how you got it down the racetrack, and to do that with so many friends and family there for me was huge. Every win is always huge and always have all these incredible stories, and I end up crying about them. But it makes it mean so much to win one of these things. And it also is how hard it is to do it. Obviously Greg has a pile of them, but each one, everyone has its own special little story. And this weekend was no different for me.
Yeah, the special paint scheme was something. So in the effort to make it different from the NHRA Insider, we are going to, and I know you're cool with this, everybody in the chat section, if you've got a question for Clay, put it in the chat, right? Like, let's make it live fan interaction. Like this guy, Michael Heiner, just saying, congratulations, crew chief for the Get Biofuel Pro Stock team. This person, it's Tracy. She's out there, says it's nice to have an extra week to savor the win. The fam was out there again. So that's 2 out of 3. The family was there.
Yes,
out
absolutely.
There, they're all on. Yep. Look, agree. It was on next one after Bandamere.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good. You would think, well, that might be added pressure having them there, but actually it's just more relaxing. I mean, we do so many things together. Tracy was over here yesterday, and we're a very close family, and it makes it so much fun. And if that's something that we need to do, we're going to figure out how to get them at every race. Tracy's now retired, and we're trying to figure out, how to get Lee to just quit her job. She's got a good job, so she's probably not going to quit. But
quit, Lee. Just blow it off. Come on.
Exactly. We probably could figure out how to get her dragster in the trailer, and she could just start super comp racing.
I like it, Buddy Hall out there. Boy, you've got a celebrity audience here, Clay. That is great, Buddy.
Man, I tell you what. How about Buddy this weekend? He did not get in, and I've been there, done that, Buddy. I know how that feels. But how crazy was that qualifying? A couple of 392s right there at the end of the session. And, Brittany was barely in or wasn't in and got in on the last one. And Buddy made a good run. Then Lex June made a good run. I mean, Top Fuel's tough.
Yeah. I don't like the 3 qualifying sessions there. I've said it. I know maybe it's good that it's tricky. And in a 4 qualifying session race, you don't have Brittany and Robert and JR all going to the final qualifying session, trying to get in and all of that. I kind of prefer 4 qualifying sessions, and from what I understand, the rest of the season is 4 qualifying sessions. What about you? What's your take on that? Is it just like race what they tell you to do? Do you care for next year?
Oh, I mean, for me, it's one more opportunity to ride the ultimate roller coaster. Give me 4 qualifying runs just for the fact that I get to stomp on that loud pedal. I mean, that is definitely, what I love about my job is just like that car above me. It's on this side over here, stomp on that loud pedal, because that's what I love to do. And, I guess you could look at it multiple ways. Yes, it did give it some questions, going into that last session, who's going to get in, who's not. It also probably is obviously a little less data, however you want to say that, for the crew chiefs, especially on a tricky racetrack the way St. Louis is, But, I mean, for the fans, you obviously probably want 4. A lot of people got there, like way early and probably didn't look at the schedule and realize we only were making 3, 1 on Friday instead of 2.
Yeah, nobody looks at the schedule. They
including me.
Either. They go to the race like it's 4. There's 2 on Friday and there's 2 on Saturday, and it's like, oh, not really anymore because of the pandemic. It's like, what pandemic? What happened? So let's go through your round by round. Heiner doesn't like 3 in the countdown either. Billy's got a question about your co-crew chief and what he's going to do. Lee says she's ready to go race and she's ready to quit her job. She's ready to throw it all away. Way to go, Lee. But let's talk about that round 1 matchup against Austin Prock. You qualified 7th. He qualified 10th. You're wearing new colors this weekend, comp cams, Edelbrock, great looking machine. I know they've helped you out on a lot of your different projects, and you work very closely with them. And they've been supportive of some things that we're doing here on WFO as well. Can't wait to talk a little bit more publicly about that. But whenever you got a special paint scheme, that increases the intensity a little bit. You're repping somebody different. You want to make it count for them. So tell me about that run against Austin where you got down 376-1 at 333. That's what it took to win.
We didn't plan on Austin smoking the tires. I'll just say that. When you're racing a force car, you never, they got all the resources, everything that's needed to go out there and turn wind lights on. But the one strategic move that Jimmo made was, so just a lot of people probably already know this, but according to where you qualify is how you get to choose what position you go out for first round. So the number 1 qualifier can choose 1 through 8, whatever position they want to go out. And I don't know what Jimmo had to choose from, but I do know whatever was left, he chose to go out last. We went out 8th pair. And the reason I know that was very strategic because I mentioned the hot racetrack. I know he was waiting on the sun to get as high as it possibly could and warm that racetrack as much as it could. And Was that part of the reason Austin smoked the tires at the starting line? I don't know. And from the driver's seat, you're racing a kid that's going to tattoo that starting line, and he absolutely did. And I just tried to do my normal deal. And, as I went down the racetrack, the thing's bouncing and dancing, and that treacherous old racetrack. But we were in the right lane that go round. And when the wind light come on, it's like, whoo, got the first one out of the way. And for me, round one, by far the hardest round there is. The butterflies have landed about the time the national anthem's playing, and you got to just kind of get in there and try to get the butterflies to go away. Even after 25 years, they still show up, and I still love that nervous, excited feeling. And when the wind light comes on, it's even better.
Exactly. No, it was interesting. Obviously, we had kind of a prolonged delay in round one, and I don't wish that on anyone. I know Lex and Gerda do such a great job with what they've got, and the last thing they want to do is slow the program down. But that maybe played into your hands as well, because it got way hotter than anyone expected. Like first round lasted, it felt like 40 minutes longer than it would normally have.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Jimmo's game plan was for the track to get hotter, and obviously the longer we waited, the hotter it got. And that probably affected our ET a little bit, because we were a little off from what the other cars ran. But we also had an extra 40 minutes of heat in the racetrack, and Jimmo was making adjustments literally right up till basically he started the car, and I think we went 76 at 328, something like that. I'm not good on remembering those things, because it all kind of, gets wound up and things get going, and you move from that one run to the next run, and all I know, again, that whirly bird was blinking on our side of the racetrack.
Good wind lights at Worldwide Technology Raceway, by the way. That's not every track has got a very clear and definitive wind light. They do. It's very easy to see from a million miles away. So you take down Austin 376, 333, go on to run Mike Salinas, Mr. First ever to the 300 at the 8th mile. And you run 85, he runs 80. So the scoreboard is telling us what happened. You were only 285 miles an hour, but your 37 reaction time coupled with his 121, like a little either way, made the difference. But you did what you had to do to win the race. But what did that feel like? Because he's thundering by at 318, you're going 285. You had to be wondering, like, oh man, is he coming around me?
Oh, I mean, when I hit the tree, I'm like, oh yeah, I tagged that one. I knew I got it. Like the moment the tree flashed, I'm gone. And as I rolled by, I felt like I definitely had the advantage, and the car's running really good. And by the time we get past the shake zone, get to that 330-foot cone, the smile starts to come, because you're like, okay, we're in good shape, and I'll tell the truth. I've got blinders on my helmet, but I am peeping over. Like, I know that Rob Flynn car, rips obviously to half track. And when I go by the 8th mile cones, I still don't see him. And then as we're rolling up there about 800 feet, the belt comes off our car, and now I'm coasting, and I'm definitely doing the Fred Flintstone. It's like, come on. And when he goes ripping by, I was like, I think I got there. And again, back to that wind light, I was like, whoo, we did, and that was huge. I mean, Mike and Rob Flynn have definitely had our number this year. They've put us on the trailer more than I even care to think about. And, we've just, I don't know what it is. It's been one thing after the other when we race those guys. So to turn that wind light on was huge. And, a lot of people was like, oh, whole shot win. I don't even look at it that way. I've lost us plenty of races, and it's just like, we won, forget the whole shot, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me, because the wind light's all we're looking for. And we turned the wind light on.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, the funny car guys are real anti talking about whole shots, because they don't want to depict their competition in a negative light. It's real samurai respect kind of thing.
Oh, I'm not buying into that. I mean, if people want to talk about it, they talk about it. I'm not doing it, because I am true believer of we win, we lose, not I won on a whole shot. It's just not that way for me. The kids working on the car, if they didn't give me a car that ran 385, it wouldn't have mattered when I hit the throttle,
Right.
So it's a we thing.
Keelan's out there.
Oh man, that's trouble.
Yeah, it is for you because, I said that I like, we got to make this as different from all the other shows as possible. So, hey, Keelan, why don't you put in the chat section a cool, fun story that Clay will have to tell us about that only you know? Wouldn't that be fun, Keelan, from when you guys were coming up? Something cool that's not terrible, right? Like,
No.
fun that Clay will have to respond to. Keelan, please assist on that while we talk about the semifinal against Tony Schumacher. Tony Schumacher beat Brittany first round. Tony Schumacher beat Antron second round. That is a team that deserves their due because they are coming around. Like everybody knew eventually they would. It just always takes longer than you think it's going to. And that was a good race. Your 82 beats his 86, and you left first by 88 to an 89. But at that point of the day, man, it was hot. Like that was, I don't know, max heat, at least what it felt like.
It was definitely a warm one. Anytime you're racing the Sarge, you're gonna have a guy that's dead solid on the starting line. Neither one of us are going to be bragging about those reaction times, but you can look at that as we were 88, 89. So sun shining the way it is. They had sprayed the track right in front of us. We were the first pair out. You had a little bit of glare from the glue. All these things play a factor into what you see. And it's kind of funny. So after we won, second round, I actually rode back in the tow vehicle with Tony's guys. And they were joking, oh, you may not make it back to your trailer, but Tony and that team have definitely been on the move. They went around us in points, the previous race. And we definitely got a battle with those guys, to stay inside the top 10. And so that was a pivotal round, just points wise, and a lot of people are all they're thinking about is championship, but we're thinking about top 10, and I know Tony's team is as well. And so that was a huge run for us, but we kind of had a repeat, we went a little quicker, but we threw the belt off again, so that was 2 runs in a row there that we kind of had that happen. And we found out why as we got ready for the finals. So that was, getting ready for the final. I don't know if you want me to go there yet or not, but we did find out why.
Well, let's find out why, because you're getting ready for the final. And what I found to be interesting is you got Tony Stewart in the booth, and he is, he's all motorsports, just like Rick Ware is all motorsports, but a lot of attention for the NASCAR side and the success. And the 2 newest owners, right? Like, let's put it that way. 2 guys who came in from outside of drag racing because they fell in love with drag racing. And now they're going to have to race each other, their teams, in the final round. I found that to be really interesting and intriguing. Like, here we go, right? So you're preparing to run against Tony Stewart Nitro, Leah Pruitt, that whole team, and you had an issue. What was the problem? How did you guys figure it out?
Well, the thing had kicked the belt off, like I say, 2 runs in a row, slowing the car down. And luckily we had still had the advantage and got the win lights. But essentially what happened, we had broken the front cover for a lot of people. Basically, the front part of the engine that where the timing cover in normal world. And so the bottom pulley was not staying square, which allowed the belt to jump off. And so the kids got the short block change. We had a whopping 55 minutes and they swapped the engine in and out. And on the Tony and Rick thing, I do know those 2 were texting each other after both cars had won the semis. And, I don't really know what the text conversation was, but I think that's pretty neat that, Tony's in the booth and Rick's at Talladega, watching his cars there. And it was going to be a big race because Leah has definitely been on the move. Her car's just been rock solid. And it's kind of funny. I don't know if it was Neil or Mike Domagala saw Jimmo at the hotel and early in the weekend and said, oh man, I know y'all are looking forward to this because it's going to be hot this weekend. And it's kind of funny that it worked out that it was those 2 cars in the final. And, Leah's absolutely positioned herself now to make a run at this championship. She's just been dead solid going rounds. And I know for me, when we rolled up there and staged, from the moment we hit the gas, if you look at the time slip, we were identical on the starting line. And then, the numbers start clicking. I think she was a thou quicker at 60. And then we picked up a little bit at 330. But from the time we left, I could hear her car. And I had mentioned earlier about looking over or whatever. This was one of those runs where I just made myself pick my target at the finish line because I'm like, she is right beside me. I could just hear her car right there. And so I picked my target, drove it through the finish line, and it was huge when I saw that win light, because her car was making, actually, according to ETs, making better runs than we were the previous runs, but we kept the belt on the thing all the way to the finish line. And I don't even know what we went for speed, but it went over 330 to the finish line, and whew, another Wally. So that's what I know.
Yeah, 331 with a 375.8, 377.5 at 327 for Leah. Great race, like regardless. One,
Yes.
like entertainment value. It was great stuff. And now you're 152 out of the lead. You're having your best career season in the NHRA. It's not over yet. You're in the middle of a fight. I see Greg Anderson is down there. I'm going to bring him on in a second. But before we do that, Keelan has delivered. Here we go. This is it. I taught him how to fall out of a big truck, almost ended a career before it started. What is he talking about, Clay?
Well, he is correct. So Keelan and I have been friends since I don't know, I was 14, 15 years old, whatever the case may be. He lives in Drummond's. He had moved to Drummond's when I was like 14, 15 years old. And when Peter Lehman bought all the equipment for us to go Top Fuel racing from Tommy Johnson Sr., we went to Ottumwa, Iowa in January. Actually, I think it was January or December 31st, somewhere and it was freezing cold outside. A little bit of snow on the ground, a little bit of ice on the big truck. And I didn't know how to drive a big truck, but Keelan did. So, I go to climb into this Kenworth, all bouncing around like a wild Indian, because I was so happy that we're leaving Ottumwa, Iowa, headed to Drummond's with a Top Fuel car. When I went to get in the truck, I definitely found my way to the ground, and it's no short fall from the side of a Kenworth down to the ground, and I busted my butt. And it was one of those things where I knew everybody saw it because I was looking at Keelan's eyes as I went out headed to the ground. And he's right. The whole Top Fuel thing could have ended right there in Ottumwa, Iowa before it started.
Yeah, how terrible would that have been? I was hoping.
Oh, it wasn't terrible. It was hilarious. It was definitely hilarious the way I went, boop. It was gravity. Like yes.
It had gravity. It's amazing how it'll just pull you right down. Thank you, Keelan. And anybody who wants to meet Keelan, you can swing by Hot Rod Randy's Horsepower headquarters when you go to pick up your WFO radio stickers at any of the next races. It is going to be great. I always swing by there, see Keelan, see Tamara. And that's kind of interesting because we got a connection because Greg Anderson is our next guest. Before we bring on Greg, tell me about, obviously, Jimmo has been working this year with his great and personal friend, Bruce Reed, who is here, and we want to know if he was going to leave. He was going to go back home for one race, and this was it. And I think he's still going because he's obligated. They just re-signed their sponsor. They got a new track down there. There's a lot of stuff. We're trying to stay as connected to our Drag Race Australia friends as is possible, but just continue to speak on what an accidental addition almost, he has been to your team.
Well, I mean, Bruce Reed is who we're talking about. I think been involved with 22 Top Fuel World Championships all in all between, Jim Reed, his brother Phil. And so he's been here for several months now, and he blames me and Donna for that because I had called him on his 60th birthday and kind of asked if, there was some way he could come over and basically be, Jimmo's right-hand man, and having a good sounding board for Jimmo was really, really important. And it was really cool this weekend. Actually, last race, his brother Phil who drives their Top Fuel car. He came over and wanted to stay for a couple races. And then Bruce got a huge surprise on Friday, I believe it was. Unknown to him, his son and future daughter-in-law came in, surprised him. And so they were here for the weekend and also got to experience their first time being at an NHRA race in St. Louis, winning all those rounds with Bruce helping tune the car, and Uncle Phil there, it was pretty dang cool. Yes, they did leave because they have their first race of the season coming up. So they all hopped on the plane, taking that long ride home. But Bruce will be back for Vegas and Pomona. We will definitely miss him in Dallas this weekend. He's been a tremendous addition to our team. Him and Jimmo are that they might as well be brothers as well. And the whole family, his significant other, as he says, soon to be wife, Kim, has been here for a lot of the races as well. She's become a huge part of our hospitality side of things. I mean, she just has jumped right in and went to work on the hospitality side. So yeah, we've now got like some Australian family that we're going to miss this weekend in Dallas, but they'll be back for Vegas and Pomona, and we're going to miss them.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I love bringing the drag racing worlds together in multiple ways, whether it be Australia and the United States, and seeing that they have a lot of fans down there, right? And They hopefully are all paying attention to what we're doing here. And they've got many, many reasons to, I think about Richie Crampton and the success that he had here in the States, and countless others. All right. What's your time status, Clay? Do you have to run? Are you chilling with us? What's the deal?
I'm not going anywhere till I get to talk to the great Greg Anderson. I mean, holy moly.
Good plan. So let's you stick with me for the Greg Anderson interview, and let's pepper him with questions because he has won back-to-back pro stock races and has like climbed from what some would call irrelevance, which was never true, right? That was just a bad stat, to second in the points. Let's bring him on, Mr. Greg Anderson. What's up, GA? Welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hi, Clay.
How are you, brother?
Nice haircut. You look a lot like me these days.
It's just easier. No helmet hair that way.
It is low maintenance.
Hey, and we might as well get into it. Yes, the hairline's back a little bit from what it was years ago. And you know what? I don't care.
I don't care either.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Nobody cares about people's hair. Hair is just very overrated. These guys who spend all the time on their hair, what jerks. So, Greg, you won 2 in a row now, and you're climbing up the points. And you said something that everybody noted when you said, we're not out running them, but we're out racing them. Can you explain what that means?
Well, basically, Joe, I think Clay knows exactly what we mean. Even if you're not the fastest car on the grounds, and I guess, to be honest with you, we haven't been the last few races. Unfortunately, that's definitely costing us bonus points in qualifying, and obviously the competition is grabbing all of them. So that's going to be a double challenge for us to try and get around. But come Sunday, that racetrack changes, Joe. It changes round by round. It's a different racetrack first round than it is second round. It's a different racetrack third round than second round, and so on. And you have to make changes as you go through the day. And basically it just flat gets trickier and trickier the longer you go in the day. And I don't know that anybody knows the real secret to mastering that, but somehow my guys have done a great job with it the last 2 races, and my car's been able to maintain the speed it's had pretty much through the day, while the other cars have kind of slowed down after first round. And that's why, maybe first round we got outrun, second round we got a little bit closer. By third round we could run with the fastest cars, and that's what it takes, Joe. You got to manage that racetrack on Sunday, just like the fuel guys have to do every run they go down the racetrack. We have to really worry about it on Sundays, not necessarily so much in qualifying. We, it's a different run sequence in qualifying. We run before the fuel cars in qualifying. And basically one of the things we've been able to identify is that what makes things different is all of a sudden we reverse order on Sunday, we run behind the fuel cars. Well, that fuel tire obviously is it's a Goodyear tire, just like ours is, but there's a million different compounds of rubber they use on these tires when they build them. It's a different compound. It's a different tire basically than we use. So if you're, say, the first car to run in pro stock following the last pair of Top Fuel or Funny car, it's tricky. That starting line is tricky. Once you get a few pro stock cars have gone across that starting line, then it becomes more friendly to our pro stock cars. So you have to factor that in. And basically what you have is first round, you have 8 pairs of cars. And if you qualify well, you can be number 5, 6, 7, or 8. You can pick your order. The guys that have to go out number 1, usually the number 8 and 9 qualifier, it's a different race setup to go up there and be the first pair behind the fuel cars. So once you go into second round, well, the farthest back you can be is 4th pair. Somebody's going to be first, second, third, and 4th. By the time you get to semifinal, you're either first or second pair behind the fuel cars. So that's in our mind why it gets trickier to race on Sunday. And, like I said, nobody knows the exact formula that it takes. And you can't necessarily feel with your foot or with the grip-o-meters or whatever that it's that different but it absolutely acts different to the tire. And it's a constant battle to try and figure out just how much you have to change your car run by run. And a lot of times we fail at it, Joe, but we haven't the last 2 weeks. We've done a great job of it and been able to capitalize on, other people's missing it by a little bit. So had a couple of great weeks and 3 to go. I think what I can say after these last 2 races is not only, yes, have I found a way to get back in this fight, but I've saved some of my teammates' bacon.
Oh, man.
Getting into the fight, too.
Oh, man. You have
Matt Hartford and Dallas Glenn lost first round last week. If I had lost to, say, Erica Andrews as a semifinal, she had gone on to win the event. They'd be a long ways back right now. So would I. She'd be off and running. So, I kept it tight, and I gave us another opportunity, another chance to hang in there. She's got a blazingly fast race car, as do her teammates, and they're a handful right now, Joe. That's all I can say.
Clay, hit him with a question.
So I want to go back on the track thing, and Greg obviously you've done this so many times, and the track thing, I had basically called Jim O like leading into the week because I'm thinking I was told, and Joe, you might can confirm this, there were over 8,000 runs made down that racetrack in St. Louis the weekend before we got there. They had the OG Million there. And what we see with the fuel cars is they especially are not friendly to, say the Hoosier and the Mickey Thompson. There's some tracks we go to where there's a lot of sportsman cars, and it gives us fits. The different rubber on the racetrack definitely affects the cars. But I got to hand it to the NHRA. I know they had to do a ton of work to get the track to the position we were in after 8,000 laps had been made the weekend before. And so, Greg, I do want to ask a question. So, man, I haven't really thought about it from y'all's perspective of the run order. So when you go to that final round, y'all become first out. So you've got to change. You're telling me you basically have to change setup from semis to the final because Pro Stock goes out first.
Absolutely. Positively. The difference from first to second is huge. The difference from second to third or fourth is huge. The difference first round from first pair to eighth pair, it's tremendous difference. And most people can't quite grasp why that would be, but it's true. It's absolutely true. And when you get stuck up to be the first pair, first round or whatever, you're number 8, number 9, or you're number 7 and number 10. Unfortunately, you have to go up there basically in defense mode. You have to kind of detune your race car and just manage it through low gear, which in Pro Stock, low gear is everything to us. We have to find a way to kill 60 foot, and if we don't, you're just flat going to run slower down the racetrack. So that's kind of what you give up being first or second pair first round. You're probably giving up chance at lane choice for second round, just knowing that you can't possibly apply all the power, but you have to do better than any guy in the other lane. You have to win the round. So, it's a tough call, but somebody gets stuck in that position every week. And same thing happens in qualifying. And it's not as big a difference in qualifying, because like I say, the run order is swapped, but it's still different. There's still every class that races in NHRA has a different compounded tire, rubber on the tire, whether it be everybody's Goodyear or you have Hoosiers involved. Really a big difference, obviously, if you're going from a Goodyear to a Hoosier or a Mickey Thompson or whatever. But even Goodyear to Goodyear, the different classes have different compound rubber, and it makes a big difference.
And you guys are stuck with the tire spinning machine, I call it, with nitro tires on there.
Exactly. And it absolutely changes it. And we've gone to racetracks before, Clay, to test, and their tire rotator might have Hoosiers or something on it.
Yep.
Well, good luck with that, so that's completely different. So very important that we follow as close as we can to the same tire we have. And that's why when we go test somewhere and there's nothing but Pro Stock cars there, it's game on. You never have a problem in low gear because it's the same rubber on the starting line every time. But that's not the case at NHRA national events.
So I got to ask, I'm sorry, Joe, but I got to ask, I'm thinking about Mooresville. So when y'all go run over there, do you make sure that it's your old tires that they're prepping the track with?
What we do is we take our burnout car over there, Clay, and we make burnouts on our tires, which we need to break our tires in anyway. So we'll go over there and spend, hour and a half, 2 hours with our burnout car before we even attempt to make runs with our Pro Stock car. Same thing. Whatever racetrack we go to, rent for the day to test, we'll bring the burnout car and make several runs with our Pro Stock Goodyear tire. Then it's game on. And then you can do whatever you need to do. But at the same time, that doesn't exactly equip you for what's going to happen in a national event. Yes, you can go to a racetrack and test things and test engine things and things like that. But as far as trying to adapt for changing starting lines, good luck getting that when you go run a racetrack.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a question that is preceded by another question. Hey, this burnout car, Clay's got this YouTube channel. He's really trying to grow. And I think Clay driving the burnout car could be like a great boom for everybody involved. Can we make that happen?
We could, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was last fall, Chad Head and all the Coletta boys were over here at ZMAX. They had to shoot a commercial for Toyota. So they said, can you bring your burnout car out here and put some rubber on the racetrack so we can shoot this crazy commercial? Sure. So we took the burnout car over there, and Chad was dumbfounded by this burnout car. So he begged, can I get in that thing and make a lap? So we let Chad make a couple laps in the burnout car. He had a blast. So I asked Chad about it. It's a different experience. He's like, I have no earthly idea. You guys had to do so much crap in that race car. He says it's not easy to do. So he got a newfound respect for what we do in a Pro Stock car, just getting in the burnout car. So, yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Clay, you're in the burnout car, baby. All right, so Michael Heiner is out there. So we got by Jerry Don Tucker in the first round. Heiner points out that St. Louis is a VP spray traction compound track when we're not there, which is just another element that nobody thinks about. Like, what are they doing when other, things are going on there? But cue in on the round against Michael Heiner. Since he's out there, maybe you could annoy him.
Who's Michael Heiner?
Oh, man. Michael, he does a wonderful Patreon show for us, Talks Pro Stock. It's really great. But now,
is he that little short guy that looks like that Bobby Hill guy?
You're attacking his height. That's a horrible thing. He's so smart. He's a wonderful. He says he wants his car back, Greg. That's what he says.
Possession is 9/10 of the law, baby. In good time, Michael. In good time.
In good time. He'll get it back. Cue in on that run, though, right? Because they've had a good year. They're no pushover. Derek's good on the tree. But you're 31st round, you're 25 second round. The lights have really been where Greg Anderson has changed the game in the past few races.
Well, Joe, nobody's a pushover anymore in this class. I don't care who you run first round, second round, third round. I've said it a million times now. It's like racing final round every time you go up there. And I think I can't remember the last 3 or 4 at least times I think I've raced Michael Heiner, Derek Kramer. They've won. They whipped my butt. So anybody can beat anybody out there right now. So they're all huge. And yes, to come up like we did, he made a good run. I made a good run. We both got good lights. My win light came on. It was my lucky day, Joe.
Excellent. Semifinal, Erica, Clay, like this is it. This is the Clash of Titans. I'd pay for 4 out of 7, 6 out of 11, like whatever we could do to make these two run 10 world championships on the starting line. But Greg mentioned it. With Hartford going out early and Dallas going out early, they were, twisting in the wind in the last 2 races. If Erica goes on with the fastest car as number 1 qualifier and wins the race, and in both races, she and Greg ran each other and Greg goes on and is victorious. That is just such a huge matchup. Tony Stewart said it on TV, and I admire him for picking up on this so rapidly, that they feed off of each other, right? Like there's this mutual symbiotic energy going right back to her very first win. Pretty cool. When you see a run like that, Clay, like fire off a question to GA about this intense run. Ask him something serious so it's not me doing it. I
mean, I'm going to show my age here, but to me, it's Ali Frazier. Greg and Erica, I feel like the rivalry does this, y'all kind of go back and forth, they have their runs and I'm going to be totally honest. I love the Ender sisters and I love you too, Greg Anderson, but that is something that the fans are paying to see is you two guys. And it's become the teams, the horsepower wars basically between you and the elite team. And when I was roaming around there this weekend, I'm like, I think the elite team now has more trucks and trailers there than John Force does. It's like everywhere you look, they're everywhere. Now, I mean, Greg, I know you do too. You've got, teams, but it's just like a sea of red trucks and trailers down that pro stock aisle over there, and so I can't imagine what it's like to have that rivalry. Well, actually I can, but I have to go back to my IHRA days with Bruce Litton, where, every time that we staged, we were definitely looking to crush the other car. And yeah. I'm assuming it's that way for you, Greg.
It is, and it is for them too, Clay. And like you said, they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. Not just the trucks, the trailers, the race cars, the drivers, the quality teams. They're everywhere. And this particular race, first round was a complete slaughterhouse for us here at KB Titan. Everybody on this team, it seemed like, got waxed first round except for myself and Derek Kramer, and we had to run each other second round. So either way you looked at it, no matter how we went forward after second round, there was only going to be one KB car left and surrounded by all these sharks, these elite bloodthirsty sharks. They're all fast. They're all great drivers. And that rivalry with Erica, it's been absolutely fantastic over the years. And I'm absolutely thrilled and excited that it still is. Obviously I'm not a young chicken anymore, and she's not old. She's way the hell younger than I am, but she's older than all these young cats out there. And we've kind of joked a little bit the last couple of years that somehow, some way, even though these guys are all lightning fast and they all cut great lights, the two of us, elder statesmen, whatever you want to call us, we've been able to hold them off. And here we are in the third year, and we're still not only holding them off, but, we're the top two cars going in the last three races somehow. Don't ask me how. And I just know that all these young kids, the Troy Coughlins, the Dallas Glens, the list just goes on and on and on with all of the Aaron Stanfields and Kyle Koreskis. They just know this has got to be their year. We finally got to get around these old timers, and don't get me wrong, I'm not calling Erica old, but she is older than those cats are. So They got to be just shaking their head right now. How did they do it again? How did they get to the top? They didn't even go into the playoffs on top. How did they get to the top already? So they got to just absolutely have just blood in their eyes. They want us so bad. And we're trying all we can do to keep it together and stay ahead of them. And when we match up against each other, it's just titanic. It's absolutely titanic. So I can't honestly remember, Clay, the last time we went to two races and we had two huge races like that together, and I came out on top on both of them. We always go back and forth and back and forth, and two in a row. That's it's incredible, and I'm very proud of that. But it means nothing except now we're starting over with three races to go. We got at least a half a dozen cars that are all grouped in a pile right now. Any one of them can win it. I can't pick the favorite. I guarantee she can't pick the favorite. All we know is we're two of them, and we got a chance.
Yeah, she was 19, Clay, and left second. Greg was 002 on the tree. And digging down deep to get what you need to get in the moment, which sets up a big final round against Aaron Stanfield. One of those young lions, he's 28. Greg, you're 21, so you left first again, and you outran him 55-209 to score your victory. The guys went crazy on the starting line. Big deal to win two in a row for the first time since 2019. People are talking like that's a long time. I guess it is.
Not only two in a row, Joe, but I was 0 for 2023. I hadn't even sniffed a final round. I think I made one final round earlier in the year, but I hadn't sniffed anywhere near a victory up until these last 2 weeks. So it's been huge for me. It's been a season saver, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely made me stop questioning myself. Can I still do it? Can I still win? I guess I can. So I'm going to keep digging and keep trying to win again until I really can't win. And I don't know when that is, Joe. As I said before, it could be next week. Could be the last time I ever win, or this week could be the last time I ever win. It could be 3 years from now. I don't know. I'm just going to do it as long as I possibly can. And thank the Lord that I'm still able to do it, to be honest with you.
Heiner taking a shot, says it's not 002. It's 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, whatever. How many of these pro stock cars has Michael Heiner driven exactly? I forget.
0. He says he never wants to do it either. So he can continue to this. Continue this kind of form of attack. Okay, so here we are, 1 and 2 in points. You and Erica. She's got a lead, but it's not very much. 25 points. Hartford 38 back. Dallas 64 back. Aaron 73 back. I think that The championship will be decided among those racers. You got a week off before you head to Dallas. Everybody's going to Dallas. I'm going to Dallas this week. But, what's going to be the key, right? Clay, dive in with some racer stuff. Ask Greg some poignant questions.
Actually, I want to go back to the driver's side of things. So, Greg, you're talking about 0 for 23 and 23. How much, and maybe you think about this, maybe you don't, but from when you started driving, how much has your role changed to now trying to take care of so many customers, so many things? Do you probably maybe lose some focus on your driving because in your brain somewhere you're worried about Derek Kramer's car, you're worried about Kyle Koretzi's car? Do you think that probably has changed things?
Yeah, I think it's changed a ton for me, Clay, but I'm not going to whine about it. It's absolutely the new business model. It's what we have to do to keep this sport alive, to keep this class alive. And yes, I've said it a million times, 5-10 years ago, all I had to worry about was finding a way, myself and Jason Line, to make our 2 race cars as fast as we possibly could. And if we had to happen to have to race each other, may the best man win. There was never any worry about that. Didn't have to worry about anybody outside of our shop. Now I have to worry about all these customers that I have. I have to do everything under my power to make them as fast as my race car, or I fear I won't have them as a rental customer. And we need that. That's the new business model. It's very hard, to acquire enough sponsorship these days to cover the nut. And so that's been the alternative for us. That's the way we bring in extra sponsorship, basically, is with the rental customers. So if you don't make them happy, I feel they go away. I just learned enough over my years in watching other businesses. You have to take care of the customer, or you won't have a customer going forward. So that's the way it's been, and it absolutely results in less victories for myself, obviously, and it's the way it is. I have to live with it. I've still had a great career, and I'm still very fortunate I get to be able to go out there and do it every day. So I'm good with it. I'm absolutely good with it, and I have now come to be – I'm just as happy when any one of my teammate wins. I think, well, maybe not quite as much as me, but pretty darn happy when one of my teammate wins. Certainly when my team wins over the elite team or whoever out there. So it's a different way of racing, but it's the new way and it's here to stay. I got to accept it, and I have, and I'm fine with it going forward. And just going to do the best I can as long as I can. But absolutely, a lot of hats to wear. Absolutely, a lot of hats to wear. And with the new merger this year with the Titan Group and new ownership, a lot of things to figure out, a lot of things to make happen. But it's all for the better. Every bit of it's for the better. So I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. It's too much. It occupies too much of my time. I'm not going to whine. It's all for the better. I just got to figure out how to make it work the best I can, and feel fortunate I still get to race.
I'm with you on that. I do whatever it takes to do this. I mean, I don't want to go back to the Kroger food warehouse driving a forklift for a living.
Right. What's the alternative, right? I mean, we don't want to do anything besides this. We're very fortunate to do what we do. We get to do what we love to make a living at it. We don't have a job. We can't consider it a job. We love what we do. So you can't consider that a job no matter how hard you work.
Do whatever it takes. A couple questions out there. Mark wants to know, Cody, what's the plan? Does he get to drive the burnout car?
Yeah, he definitely gets to drive the burnout car, and I've certainly tried to make it known to everybody. As soon as I finally drag my crusty old butt out of the seat, I'm going to give Cody a chance, and I just told him be patient. That could be very near. It could be a little bit down the road. I don't know, but be patient. I was 37 before I got a chance to drive a pro stock car, any race car. So he's got plenty of time, and he's looking forward to it, and he's being patient. He's learning things every day as far as working on the race car. He's wearing a lot of different hats now. So, he's come a long way in the last 3-4 years. Before 5 years ago, it was 100% golf. And now he's learned a ton about racing and working on race cars and every bit about it. So there's time yet for him to get behind the wheel. And it's going to happen someday, Joe. I just can't tell you the exact day yet. Obviously, plans might have changed a little after the last 2 weekends. It's probably not going to be next week.
But yeah, the retirement plan is off. But we got to see you guys race each other at some point, though. That's like,
that'd be cool.
Mandatory.
And I want to throw in there, you said 37. I was 32. So, Cody, you got plenty of time,
Plenty of time. And, you can look at it the other way, too, right? I didn't start till 37, and I got like over 100 wins. If I start him at 25, got to think my record's in jeopardy, right?
Right, exactly.
If I delay it as long as I can, maybe that record will stand a little longer. I don't know. I don't think that way, but he got plenty of time, and he's learning every day. So,
I got a quick question. So who, and I don't know the answer, who has more Wallies, you or Dan Fletcher? I think Dan Fletcher's at like 103, 107.
I'm at 103, so I don't know the answer to that.
Greg is 103. I think Fletcher just won 106.
106.
So it's very close.
He's got me covered.
Yeah, for the moment. But he's
quite a racer.
Yes, he is.
You're picking up steam again is what's happening. So what I noticed, Greg, we talked about Clay and Rick Ware racing, running Leah Pruitt and Tony Stewart racing in the final round of Top Fuel, while the HendrickCars.com machine in Pro Stock has won the last 2 races in a row. What's happening with this NASCAR takeover of NHRA drag racing, guys?
You got to love it, right? I think it's great for the sport. I think it's fantastic. They're obviously all quality individuals, and they brought a lot to NHRA drag racing, I think. And I think the more of them that come in, the more will follow behind. So I think it's all great. What more can you say about a guy like Rick Hendrick or Tony Stewart, for God's sake? I mean, everybody loves the guy, and Rick Ware, what a personality he is. So I think there'll be more to come. I think it's great. I love it. I think our sport needed it, and I think it's benefiting from it. I'm excited about it. I know I'm having a blast with it. Mr. Hendrick's having a blast with it. So it's all good, Joe.
All right. So I just got a note, and I'm going to ask Clay. Okay, Clay, this is for you. Greg and Erica have raced 53 times in eliminations. Do you want to guess like what the breakdown is?
Ooh, I don't even know. I don't know.
Nobody knows. I only know because it was just texted to me.
See, I feel like it's about 5 Greg and about 50 to Erica. But maybe it's not quite that way. I don't know. I'd be interested here.
Yeah, I've got the answer. You'll get the answer. Clay, if you nail this, I'll buy you dinner somewhere.
Well, since Greg said that, I'm going I don't know either, but I got to believe it's near 50-50. But just to say a number, I'm going to say 60% Erica, 40% Greg. I don't know.
Get this. Okay, we're talking about the rivalry, the 10 championships between them, et cetera, and so on. In the 53 head-to-heads and eliminations, this is according to NHRA's media department, which just texted me. Thank you, Josh. Erica leads 27-26. It's nearly 50-50. Like that's, and it's an odd number, so it couldn't be actually 50-50. One of the greatest rivalries of all time is the text that I received. Thank you, Josh, for sending me that. Can you believe that? Like, how is that possible? That's insanity.
That's crazy.
That's why, like I said, it felt so weird to do it 2 times in a row. I can't remember that happening very many times, to be honest with you. 2 times in a row that, when so much has been on the line, especially, and you lock horns and I came out on top. It's, as I said, I would have guessed it had been about 10% for me and 90% for her.
Yet and still, though, she leads the points and hasn't won a race in the countdown yet, which she's probably going to. It's a shock. She, going to Worldwide Technology Raceway, she had won 4 consecutive races there. Vegas, she is the all-time win leader in Vegas. Like, these are tracks that she's really good at. You'd imagine she's going to get a win in the countdown. So how do you blunt that, right? Like, you have to do something.
We have got our hands full, Joe. There's no question about that. She's got a blazingly fast race car right now. She's got teammates with blazingly fast race cars. It's she's getting bonus points like through the roof every race she goes to. As you said, she hasn't won a playoff race yet. I've won 2, and I think Matt Hartford's won 1. She's still leading the points. She didn't even go into the playoffs number 1. And she's still leading. So that shows you how many bonus points she's been able to get and how huge that is in the playoffs. So that's certainly a huge concern of ours, Joe. You can race your guts out on Sunday, and we have been. But if you give up 10, 15, 20 points before you even get to race day every week, it's a tough mountain to climb. And that's where she is right now. So there's certainly, one thing that we've got to figure out before we get to Pomona, we've got to find a way, whether it's if we can find 1 horsepower, 2 horsepower, 3, 4, whatever, we've got to find a way to narrow that gap where we can get some of them qualifying points. So that's the goal this week. I've got every engine we've got apart right now. My engine, Dallas's engine, Kyle's engine, all our team engines apart, trying to find something better, a little bit something better where we can try and get some of them qualifying points and take some away from her. Otherwise, it's going to be a steep mountain. We know that, Joe. That's just reality.
Clay, final question for Greg.
This is going to be zero to do with anything we just been talking about, but it is at the same time. So I was so wanting Kyle Koretsky to win at Reading, and he did an amazing job for the amount of pressure that kid had to be under, at the House of Chaos. Do you think it's just a matter of it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen, Greg? I mean, because he really did a great job he's done a great job, period. But at Reading, I was impressed with Kyle.
I was so proud of him there. You're right. People don't understand the pressure he's under. First of all, he's running that racetrack at the same time he's trying to run the race. The guy's out there hauling trash barrels between rounds of qualifying, between rounds on Sunday. He's taking tickets at the gate. He's doing everything. He's dealing with the public, problems, fires everywhere. That's what he deals with. On top of that, his dad, Captain Chaos, is always in his ear, and he wants him to win bad. So for him to do what he did that day and make it to the final and yes, I felt the same way you did. I hoped and prayed he could find a way to win that. It happened to be he came up against one of my other teammates, Matt Hartford, and you can't root for either one, but how could you not hope for Kyle to win his home track, home race? So it was kind of a neat deal because Eddie Gernacci works for Matt Hartford. Eddie and Kenny and Kyle are like that. They've grown up together. So It's like Kenny had the best of everything in the final, but him and Kyle's mom certainly wanted Kyle to get that done, and he was so close to getting it done, and we feel horrible. His car shook the tires, and we messed up. We messed up on the starting line. It's that tricky deal again, being first pair behind the field cars, and we missed it, and Matt didn't. So, unfortunately, Kyle lost that great opportunity, but he did a great job. He's doing a great job every week, and he's absolutely win waiting to happen without a doubt, and he's become a very, very, very talented driver. He's progressed every year, and he's absolutely a win waiting to happen any race. So proud of the guy, proud of what he goes through every day, proud of what he's been able to do. And we love having him around. He's a great, great kid.
I love the Koretsky family. I mean, Kenny owned the Top Fuel team that I drove for a while. And, Kenny Jr., Karen, T-Bird. I mean, they're just a great family, and what they've done at Reading is impressive.
Great. Look what they did at Reading. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. It's just absolutely awesome. And to see the turnout the last 2 years at that racetrack, kudos to them. That's how you run a racetrack. That's exactly what we need, and I'm very, very proud of them.
We had sellouts at two of the first three countdown races, Worldwide Technology Raceway in Reading. But in the one we didn't have a sellout is one of the biggest facilities on the entire tour. It's like a massive, massive place. And I wonder if we had taken the crowd from Worldwide Technology Raceway on Saturday and placed it at ZMAX Dragway, what would it look like, right? Probably would look like the crowd we had out there. So
they are huge grandstands, Joe. You gotta realize that. Those are huge, huge grandstands, and it's a lot of people to fill them. So it's disappointing. Obviously, my home track, so it's disappointing we don't fill them every time, but they're huge. They're big.
Hey, I got one more.
There's a lot of ways for the race fan in Charlotte to divide their attention. Let's just put it that way.
Clay, remember ZMAX was covered with dirt by the motocross thing. Remember that, Clay? I got a spy report that this guy got off a plane or something. He didn't go home. He went straight to the track. He snuck in the back gate to check out the track. Greg, tell us that story.
I did when we landed I guess it was after Reading, wasn't it? The Sunday after Reading? Yeah, Sunday after Reading. And I drove right from the airport to the racetrack because I couldn't believe what I had seen on the internet with the pictures of this dirt on the racetrack. So I drove out there and there's no way we're going to have a national drag race event here in 2 weeks. It's impossible, absolutely impossible. There's no way they'll get all this dirt picked up. They had hundreds of diggers and dump trucks and everything flying around, but it's like they weren't even making a dent in the amount of dirt they had out there. So I said, it's probably not going to happen. So I sent a few pictures around to friends, Chad Head and Joe, and you're not going to believe this, but I don't know, we're going to be racing in 2 weeks, but they got it done. They got it all cleaned up, and we had a great race surface here. So amazing what they can do, I guess. Amazing what money can do, I guess, what it comes down to. Behind it, it'll get done.
Money and manpower. Well, great. Greg, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Is there anything you want to say to the fans out there before we let you go?
Well, obviously, everybody got to keep tuning in to this great sport, NHRA drag racing, and not only our class, but Clay's class. So proud of you. So proud of Jimmo. Love the man like a brother of mine. So great to see you win there. I had a ball with it, and you in the winner's circle, and keep tuning in these last three races. I have no earthly idea what's going to happen, but it's going to be good.
Absolutely.
It was really fun for me when I got out of the car down there and Greg comes over and he's like, the old guys can still get it done. We had a quick little man hug there that made me feel really good coming from Greg that he knows what it takes. And when you're fortunate to win one of these things, you definitely enjoy them. I don't care how many of them you've won.
And it's so funny, Clay, because these young guns that we got in the sport, they could give a crap less who you are and how many wins. They don't. It doesn't even register to them, right? They just know they're better than you and they're going to beat you. So they're so cocky and they're so confident, which is great. That's fantastic. That's the way it should be. So it's you kind of get a kick out of it when you do hold them off and you win an event, at least one time anyway.
Yep. One last thing. So I'm in the car and I'm watching Greg and I'm like, oh man. He got the dreaded left lane as well. Both of us got moved over to that left lane. Nobody wanted it. And dang, somehow, some way, Greg screwed up the burnout. I'm like, oh boy,
did you see that best burnout I made? Wasn't that special? It's how easy it is for your mind to wander for just a second and get caught and do something dumb. And when that happens, you're like, should I just shut it off now and get out of the car, put a bag on my head and walk back to the pit? Or what should I do? Or should I just act like nothing happened and go up there and hope for a miracle? And that's what I did. I tuned it out. I forgot about it. I went up there and car made a run like everything was fine. So sometimes you just can't figure it out. What does the racetrack really want? Sometimes you just don't know.
Okay, so Clay we know you got to go try to win a world championship, right? But you're stuck on WFO now, and Clay just brought something up, like a connection. So first of all, Hartford muffed the burnout in the final of the U.S. Nationals. He won it. You muffed the burnout right here, and something just triggered in my mind, Clay mentioning that, because I forgot all about it. Total pass for GA. GA, first run in Pro Stock car. Didn't you have some sort of weird burnout incident?
Yeah.
Clay, first run in Top Fuel car. Didn't you have some sort of weird burnout incident?
People never forget anything.
You're together now. You both have this thing.
This is 20, 30 years ago. That's old history. We can't bring that up again.
But you're together. You're never together.
That Michael Heiner brings it up, I swear, every race I go to. I still remember your first burnout, buddy.
Yep.
Just chops you right off of the knees.
Yeah, you notice I'm being really quiet because I was ready to go ask for my forklift job back after I did it.
You just want to get out of the car and put a bag on your head, go hide.
But isn't that amazing, though? Like, I'm looking at it from the positive perspective, guys.
The positive.
Start off that way. And
where would you find that, actually?
You've both risen to the highest heights. All right. GA, we're going to let you go. Go back, find some horsepower. Thank you for spending time with us.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend, guys.
There he goes, Greg Anderson with us here on WFO. Clay, thank you for hanging out for that. That was awesome stuff.
That was so fun. I mean, Greg's a legend, and it's an honor to be on the screen with him.
Yeah, great stuff. And that thing at the end, like, you brought that up. I didn't bring that up. You brought that up. Burnout problems, right?
Exactly.
But it tells you something, though. Like, you shouldn't quit just because you stumble out of the gate. And look at the careers that you've both had. Any final thought for the audience out there before I let you go, Clay, and enjoy the rest of your day?
My final thought is Stampede of Speed. That's what's coming up. I mean, it's a week-long event. There's going to be nonstop things going on. And if you can somehow, some way make your way to Ennis, Texas, next week's going to be amazing. Nonstop racing action. Who knows what all they got going. And I can't wait to get there. And I'm thinking about a custom cowboy hat Sunday afternoon. This is what I'm thinking.
I think that would be an amazing trophy of all the amazing extra bonus trophies, ice cream scoops, etc., wine goblets. That is one that everybody wants to get. And then you would get invited to the Champions Dinner forever and all these great Stampede of Speed bonuses that they've got going on. I fly out tomorrow, and I will be there from Thursday night this week till the following Monday when we get home. So I'm going to experience the whole Stampede of Speed, the cattle drive, Scott Palmer. It's all happening, and it's going to be wild. When do you get in? Like, what's your plan?
I will be there Tuesday.
Nice. We got Jegs All-Stars, by the way. That's a big, big deal. Jegs All-Stars racers. So cool. You're going to be there on Tuesday. We'll hang out. It'll be fun.
Sounds good.
Clay, thank you so much.
Thank y'all for having me on. I can't wait to see you in Dallas.
Big D, baby. All right, Clay, congratulations. 3 wins on the season. Clay Millican with us here on WFO Radio. Way to go, Clay. Clay Millican. How about that? Him and GA. Yes. So I'll tell you the secret, right? Like yesterday, I was doing the show and still recovering from the weekend and thinking, like, I'll just do this show today. Me and Reinhart. It's going to be good enough and everyone will love it and be appreciative of the content. And then while the show's going on, people are like, hey, are we going to hear from Clay? And I'm like, oh man, people want to hear from Clay. And so fired off the text to Clay and he's like, yeah, of course I'll come on the show. And then I thought, I'm going to have Clay on. I'm going to do a show. Let's get GA in on the mix. And then so I think, all right, Greg, you in on the show? He's like, yeah, I'm in on the show. So that's great. I got this great show queued up. It's going to be good. 12 noon, WFO Universe going to be there. Represent. We're going to do the show. Right before the show, I go to NHRA.com and I see Brian Lone's NHRA Insider. And sometimes this happens. We cannibalize the same guests. And it's Clay and GA on the show. And I'm like, oh, that's a bummer, man. Right. But we're not obligated to tell each other who we're going after for guests. And like to get Hagen. Hagen is a very busy guy and there's a lot going on and Gage works. And so I had a moment of like quasi, not panic, but like this one's got to be different. And I feel like it was different. Clay interviewed Greg Anderson. And that's why, you should listen to all of the content out there in the NHRA universe. Because even if it's the same people, it's going to be something different. I hear Clay was on Shake and Bake as well. It's going to be different. We're going to try our best to make it different. All right, guys, put your comments in the comment section. Like, let's load those comments up. Your thoughts about Stampede of Speed, first 3 races of the championship, who's in, who's out, what's going on, all that jazz. Let me know, and I will tell you about the people who make it possible, like Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. I'm always telling you, it's a great gift for the holidays. The Dragster Adventure. You or your friends or someone can drive a dragster. You send them on the trip. They get a certificate. They can redeem it at any time, wherever they want, when the Dragster Adventure comes around their town. That's the best way to do it. FrankHawley.com. Get them a gift that they'll remember for the rest of their life instead of the garbage you normally get them. As simple as that. Like, hey, I sent you something on Amazon Prime. No, get them something that they're really going to love. Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure. On that note, Marvin Rodak's coffeeandgrills.com, right above my head, that logo. Marvin Rodak is partnering with Camry Caruso next weekend at the Stampede of Speed. Rodak's Coffee is on board with Camry Caruso. It's going to be great. Rodak's has got a Stampede of Speed blend that he's got going on. Why don't you reach out to him and order some? 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. So you're enjoying your Rodak's coffee while we're all out there at the Texas Motorplex. And we can all like have that combined unified experience. Oh, how great is that? 817-924-6821. And then there's Samtech. Not really a Christmas gift. Not really a frivolous thing. This is your life. It's your career. Do you love building engines? Do you love hands-on stuff? How about getting that core and foundational education that'll make you a machinist that someone wants to hire? A CNC programmer, an EFI tuner. Judd Massengill, Linda Massengill, Brian Massengill down there in the Houston, Texas area. They said in the early 80s, we can't find machinists. And so they decided to start a school for machinists. And they're doing a great job, samtech.edu. Plus all the people on the bottom of the screen, Total Seal, FTI, Foggett, Bernie's, and Phillips Connect, all on board for WFO this year. Been very helpful to making us what we are. Like Clay said, been around a long time. A couple other things while you're populating your comments there so I can kind of go through them and see what's up. Our Patreon Listener Club. So much fun. You want to hear Michael Heiner fire back at Greg Anderson for this, the grave injustice we just experienced right there? You'll get your chance. The Hear It From Heiner show is part of the Patreon VIP benefits. You got to, you sign up month to month, but if you sign up for a year, I send you a t-shirt, decals, patch, all kinds of swag. It's great stuff. And most importantly, you're part of the WFO universe behind the scenes that really keeps this show going. And try to make sure that they get information maybe ahead of the masses as any VIP would. And so patreon.com/WFO radio. Our merch store is rocking. Sometimes the stuff goes on discount. You get Morris Motorsports swag, the Fire t-shirt I was wearing yesterday, all that stuff. It's available, and you can get it right through our mobile application or the website. The classic Miami Hollywood Speedway shirt where I grew up, me and Daryl Gwynn, that is probably the best stuff, And here's a photo from pandemic times. Nobody wants to remember the mask era. So I still got a bunch of masks, and I'm not I don't even want to think about that anymore. And also Project Pontiac. This is something that I'm super excited about. I mentioned the folks at Edelbrock jumping on to help out. Project Pontiac is really interesting. Had a couple of conversations with Gary Stinnett. We're talking camshaft profiles, talking about how we're going to take this old bracket car and get it back on the track to run NHRA Super Street out there in NHRA's Southeastern Division. And hopefully folks will be inspired and realize that they can do it too. And let's all go from in the bleachers to on the track together. So please follow along WFO Radio. But what a weekend it was for Greg Anderson. Gets the job done back to back. Thanks to Josh Hatchett for that incredible stat, the 53 races in elimination. Erica and Greg, and they're darn near 50-50. That's insanity. But Ali Frazier, Clay showing his age a little bit, but great rivalry. And that's what they are, a great and respectful rivalry. And they want to destroy each other on the track. All right, let's see what you got out there, guys. Final thought before we get out of here for the week. And I head to Big D, Dallas. What am I going to be? I'm going to wear my cowboy hat. Do I wear the cowboy hat the whole time? I don't think so. Right? All right, Monica. All right. First of all, here we go. Steven loves all the stories. Great stories. Right? We could have kept on going with stories, but Greg's got to go find horsepower. Glad you did a show today. Turned out great. Thank you, Monica. I just the guilt. Right? No, man, we got to do a show. You got to tell the stories. You got to do the show. McNeil Freeman. What's up, Mac? McNeil Freeman is out there. Awesome job. Thank you, McNeil. Great freaking show. Ant Dog, amping it up with the word freaking. That's how you know. Great show. Great freaking show. Oh, wow. Just wide freaking open. Greg and Clay together was great. It's like a social scene on here. That's what's different about WFO, which is why you got to subscribe and click the bell and podcast and write us a review and all that stuff and buy that gear and all that stuff. Maybe you want some stickers. Go see Keelan. Now that everybody knows Keelan, you're like a celeb now at Hot Rod Randy's Horsepower headquarters. I have stocked them up with decals. So, everybody comes up to me Joe, got any stickers on you? And of course I never do, because I've got my, phobia of, losing stickers on the track. And so Keelan's got them at Hot Rod Randy's Horsepower headquarters. Go say hi to Keelan. WFO, the place to be. Dylan. Amazing show today, Joe. Glad to see my two favorite drivers on there. Isn't that funny how that works, Dylan? Great stuff. Mark, have you read Jimmo's book, Top Fuel for Life? Yes, I have a while back, but I did. Cover to cover, I don't want to say that. The various sections, yes, I have, but I haven't. Let's see. Will we get to see a live stream of any of the Stampede? I don't really know what they're doing with live stream. I know that various aspects of it, I'm going to be doing a lot of social media from there. So please follow me, WFO Joe, on Twitter and Instagram. I've got a fun little bit up there right now. In fact, if you want to go check it out, me, rowing a Liberty, Jesse Alexandra and Lenny Lottig. And I actually think that it's Lenny's simulator. And the real story is I went to Jerry Haas Race Shop on Thursday with Nikki, NHRA social media director, and we got a tour of Jerry Haas's shop, which many of you saw out there on NHRA social media, and they even played it on the Sunoco Vision. And, Jesse's Factory X car was there, and Jerry had to go do something, so he put Nikki and I on his practice tree simulator. And we got to go side by side using the practice tree, not with a button, but with the clutch pedal. So the next day I show up at the track, and Jerry had been saying, go see Lenny Lottig's brand newest version of this simulator. Sure enough, Lenny's got the clutch pedal, the gas pedal, the Liberty 5-speed, shift light, tree, everything. It was great. And not only that, he was the practice tree gives you the amount of time between shift light and shift. And so I got in this thing with a shifter for the first time. And that's up on my social media. You can go check it out. How did I handle it? Did I tip over? Did I go on my roof? Go check it out there on the social media. But it was fun as heck. like I'm addicted immediately. Unclutch it, shift on the light, and it gives you all the data and readout. Pretty cool. Great stuff. And you can go find that on social media. I'll be doing a lot, as much as I can, out there at the Stampede of Speed. This guy just says, thank you. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you. Will Top Fuel be testing at the Stampede of Speed? I'm under the impression that Wednesday is an open test day for anybody. So anybody who wants to. Thanks, Joe. Great show, says Montana Karting. Heiner always has great stuff. Yes, he'll retort to Greg Anderson. That's the thing. And I've had people telling me this, and I'm eager to share it with every one of you. You may not like if you like Pro Stock, the Hear It From Heiner show is maybe the best behind the scenes thing going in Pro Stock, because dude lets it fly. Number one. Number two, it's not to a mass audience. It's to a VIP audience. So it's tight crew. It's almost like a little seminar, except he's given his thoughts and opinions about everything that's going on and telling us about tuning a Pro Stock car. And I've learned so much since he has started doing the Hear It From Heiner show on Patreon. And big thanks to everybody who supports that, because it's been amazing. Let's see what else. WFO. When is someone going to post a video of Joe announcing jet cars? We need to know about the fire. Not a lot of jet cars in 2023. Is it just me? The good news is the folks at the Stampede of Speed have supplied us jet cars. And we're going to have jet cars, and I'm going to yell fire, and it's great. It's part of my deal now, really. Like Michael Buffer, when he says, let's get ready to rumble, it costs $500,000. When I say fire, it costs $5. You got to start somewhere. Will I be at the Pro Shootout in February? Unknown. Remains to be seen. It is in my home state, right? Like one way or another, I will probably go see nitro cars across the state, one way or another, and Pro Stock cars. Stan, Joe, do you know if enough FX cars will show up at Vegas for it to be contested? I don't know. I feel like there was enough FX cars for it to be contested at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and it was 3. Alan Johnson, first over 200, 202.55, a car that I was in and also shifted. I had a lot of experience with the Liberty this weekend. Worldwide, baby. Worldwide. Some pro teams are testing at IRP today. Thank you, Nicole Clark. Yeah. And there you go. Well, they should. It's the countdown, baby. It is the countdown. And so you better test. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this episode. What do I always tell you at the end of the show? Share the show. You're it. You're the marketing department. Going up against the big corporation. Going up against the Walmart. I'm the mom and pop sandwich shop trying to survive. Making it on, gumption and aggressiveness. So when you share the show and you say, hey, this WFO guy is not so bad, put him in your feed. Subscribe, click the bell. He'll say something funny every once in a while, but you'll definitely get some good insights into the sport. Because, I'm always trying to create something, trying to make it as best as I can, trying to give a little insight and make me understanding into the sport of NHRA drag racing. Because why the heck do I love it so much? Like, what's wrong with me? Right? And you go out there and you see Worldwide Technology Raceway, packed, fans from everywhere. Will WFO continue during the offseason? Yes, that is a WFO thing. We go through the offseason. We don't go like 3-4 days a week like we do normally, but we go. We do shows. We have fun. We have a holiday party. That's all. Last year's stuff is all in the archive. You can go digging into the archive. So many people do. A lot of people catch up in the offseason because they're weeks behind. Tracy, Joe knows. Joe knows some stuff. The thing is Joe's trying to learn as much as is possible. Joe tries to be a sponge, and Joe doesn't know enough is really the answer. Joe doesn't know enough, but Joe wants to know. None of these really make great t-shirts, but they are the truth. And that's that. For you Patrons, check out the Hear It From Heiner show. And everybody who supports, look at Michael Heiner. Look at this guy, giving a young man an opportunity to sit in a Pro Stock car. That is great stuff. Stampede of Speed. I cannot wait. I'm headed to Ennis. I'm headed there tomorrow. We're going to have a great time. Hopefully you will be there. It's going to be great. Thanks to Clay and Greg. Have a great week, everybody. WFO.